Hi guys, so today we are doing another big camera test. We have cameras from Canon, Sony, DJI, Blackmagic design, red. Let's check it out, shall we? Okay, so we start things off with the Canon C300 Mark III, and we have, of course, the same sensor in the Canon C70. So what you will see here with the C300, it will apply to the C70 as well. We got the DJI sensor from Canon shooting in Canon RAW, and we get those beautiful Canon colors. We get a 4K image, and I think this looks really pleasing and organic. Now we move on to the red Komodo. We go up to 6K, and I think we still have an organic looking image, but it is clearly sharper than the C300. And we have good highlight retention on my left side of the face, and just the red RAW is just a dream to work with. We have 16 bits of color that we can play with, and I think that it shows because you get a really nice dense color saturation from the red image pipeline. So I really love shooting with red cameras if I can. And this is a Komodo with a speed booster on, so you can see the difference in field of view if you use a speed booster. And again, we move back to Super 35 with the 6K Pro. So we got a 6K image. We are shooting in B-RAW. I think this image looks a bit red from where I'm sitting, but I think that is easily corrected. We all just did a color space transform on all of the cameras to make things equal, but I do think that it's a nice looking image. So we are back in Super 35 mode, and with the FX30 we are shooting in H.265, and for me this is probably the weakest performer in the entire test, and I think that has a lot to do with the image looking very digitally sharp and not very organic at all. The colors are looking pretty solid, I would say, but when we move now to the FX3, we get a full frame sensor, and I think a bit of that over sharpening is gone. This is a much more pleasing image to me, and I know from owning the A7S III for years and shooting a lot of ProRes RAW with that is just a really nice image if you know how to massage it, and we've seen that from the creator as well. And now we move on to the Pocket 3, which I think is just a fan-freaking-tastic camera. This camera is so useful, but the sensor does require a lot of light. And here again, we can see DJI using those Hasselblad color science. I think this is a great looking image from a 1-inch sensor. Absolutely spectacular. Okay, so the Panasonic S5IIX shooting in ProRes, that's the highest quality we could get out of it. And again here, I think we have an image that looks overly digital sharp, and especially if you compare to the old S1H, which was my A cam for a lot of years, that has a lot more pleasing and organic looking image, and the internet seems to agree on this one. Here we go with the red Epic Dragon. The Dragon sensor for me is one of the all-time greats. It's just so wonderful looking. I really enjoy the filmic look of this camera, and many others with me. I've shot with this side by side with the Alexa, and they are neck and neck. I mean, I would still give the edge on narrative work for the Alexa, but for sports documentaries, the red every day of the week. Now, unfortunately, I did format my memory card before transferring the files, so you will have to make do with stills from the C300 Mark III, which I think is looking really good. And one of my new favorite cameras, the R3, this is a camera that I don't think gets enough credit for just how good the image performs out of this camera, and boy do I wish we had C-Log 2 for this sensor. And now we're back with the Panasonic S5IIX, and I just think that this is a lower performance than the other cameras we've seen, even though we are shooting in high bitrate ProRes 422 and I think the image looks a bit toasted. Now granted, we did have some cloud cover coming in and out, so maybe I did overexpose this just a tiny bit, but still, the image is not what I expect out of the Panasonic camera coming from the S1H. And speaking of the S1H, we have the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K shooting in B-RAW, and this is probably one of those cameras that I think gets closest to the Red Epic or the RE Alexa. The highlight roll-off is really nice, even though we have lower dynamic range. This camera is just a solid performer, and I really love the image coming out of it. And it is a really versatile camera. But again, here with the Canon R3, I mean, is there a difference in highlight roll-off in color? Maybe a little. Do I like that we had open gate on the Cinema Camera 6K? Absolutely. But this is a really solid image with really solid colors, and the R3, it just keeps on surprising me in just how good of a performer it is. And here is, I think, a really interesting image, because the Panasonic S5IIX now for some reason does perform better in this sort of more diffused lighted scenario. I think it gets closer to where I want the Panasonic image to be and what I've learned from the S1H. Now we move on to the Pocket Cinema Camera 6K, and we're shooting outside. We are shooting in B-RAW, and what I think we are getting here is just a lovely image. Again, if we could just get a bit less sharpness, this would look absolutely spectacular. The Pocket 6K Pro surprised me in a lot of ways when we got Generation 5 color science, looking absolutely spectacular, I would say. And here we have the S5IIX shooting in ProRes, and again, there's just some weirdness here. My skin tones are looking very pink, which I don't think is pleasing at all. There's just like flatness to the image that we did not see in the Pocket Camera 6K, and I don't know why. And again, the R3, I mean, just look at the skin tones, the difference from the S5IIX. It's night and day in where at least I want my skin tones to be, and I do also think we have like a greater punch to the image here. Not the like depth that we would get with the Red Epic Dragon, but really close, I would say. Alright you guys, that is it for the test. What did you think? Which camera did fare the best? Leave your comments down below. I would really like to know what you guys think. I read all the comments and I try to respond as often as I can. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like this sort of content, give me a follow, subscribe down below, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one.